Coal is good for humanity. Coal is good for prosperity. Coal is an essential part of our economic future here in Australia and right around the world.
Coal is good for humanity is representative of former Prime Minister's climate change policy. Tony Abbott was perhaps the most influential Australian at the time this was said. As the Prime Minister, the majority of the population who are not well educated on the impacts of coal would have taken his view as it relates to the economy, the coal industry and Australia's future as expert.
This led to the abolishment of the carbon tax, which has been a widely criticised policy move by the world's top scientists and economists.
Most people who voted for the world to end believed the carbon tax would cost them. In fact, most families would have been an extra 20 cents a week better off after the rebate.
Oh, I thought I was going to be worse off.
After several years of political debacle, we are left with a disappointing outcome. Our current policy, the condemned Direct Action Plan, is largely about using taxation revenue to funnel subsidies to polluting industries for emissions reductions they might make anyway. This policy will not meet Australia's international obligations and emission commitments.
Big polluters should be paying, not you and I.
Renewables cost too much.
The current argument against renewables is that they're not economically viable. However, our government currently gives coal subsidies and tax cuts of $4 billion. Perhaps renewables should be given these subsidies.
My husband wanted solar panels, but it's not enough to power my household.
Good evening, I'm Nancy News, and now to our top story, revolutionising the energy industry. The Indigenous-owned and operated company Allgrid has developed a lead-acid battery system able to capture all of the household's excess power and store it for when it is needed later in the day.
One of the very cool functions of it is what we call a UPS, or uninterrupted power supply. That's where, provided there's power in the batteries, you'll be able to have certain circuits within your home still having power. Perfect example, your kitchen, you really want to, in a time of power outage, you're looking for lights, you're certainly wanting to try and keep your freezer or your food, your fridge going, and that's what we've done here in this case.
This is just one of the many examples of renewable energy advancement. Imagine if coal subsidies were redistributed.
Leading nations such as Japan and the US have slashed coal subsidies, but once again, Australia is falling far behind. Less than a month after the former Prime Minister proclaimed coal is good for humanity, the most prestigious scientific body in the assessment of climate change released several important findings, all of which conflict with his statement. Coal is a major contributor of greenhouse gas, and the IPCC have the strongest of scientific evidence demonstrating its impact on the climate system. If the consumption of coal continues, it will cause further warming and irreversible damage to ecosystems and humanity. The science concludes that for the best chance at keeping temperature rise below 2 degrees Celsius, when considering the consequences at and beyond this temperature, the best thing coal can do for humanity is stay in the ground. Stress, water scarcity, flooding, storms and storm surges. Endured by rural areas, significant impacts on infrastructure, supply and availability of water. An increase by several $100 billion per year of investment in renewables before 2030 is needed to have any possible chance of staying at or below 2 degrees. there will be consequences for humanity if emissions continue increasing business as usual, because it will mean by 2100 the global temperature will increase from 3.7 to 4.8 degrees above pre-industrial levels. If coal use continues as is, it will contribute to temperatures reaching a catastrophic level. It has been scientifically proven that any further use of coal will hinder any chance that climate change be beaten. So, if the good of humanity is a sustainable and successful future, the less coal the better, and renewable opportunities should be explored. Science negates coal being good for humanity.
If this is global warming, that's fine by me.
Yeah.
You feel me?
Yeah.
This is great for humanity. This is great for humanity!
Is this really good for humanity, Tones?